Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy and I am on a financial freedom journey with my family. Every single month I share our progress towards our financial goals and our net worth, and that just helps me to track these things better on a monthly basis. And it's just really interesting to me to see the highs and lows of net worth every single month. For a long time I was doing my net worth quarterly, and I just came to realize that I really prefer to do it monthly, even though it is hard sometimes to see the lows in the market really impacting your net worth, especially as more of your money becomes invested. But it is really interesting to me to see that monthly number and to have that data. I'm a huge data nerd, so for me to have every single month net worth back from 2021 is really interesting to evaluate, and I can't wait to see in 10 years when we have all of this history, and I just find it really interesting. So let's go ahead and get started with our net worth and goals for October. So this is as of October 31st. I always pull all of these numbers together the last day of the month just for consistency, so that we can make sure that we're looking at these numbers as consistently as we can over the years. So for October, our main focus was putting money into our basement remodel fund. Now, if you guys have followed my Debt Free Friday videos, which if you don't, I highly recommend you do, because I talk about these financial goals every single week. But if you have been following my Debt Free Friday videos, we've actually been working on our basement already. So we've already been doing some framing and things like that and buying things for the basement remodel. So while we did set aside $1,800 in the month of October for our basement remodel, the majority of that money was actually already spent. So we did put that aside, but we have been spending it, if that makes sense. So for October, we did put $1,800 aside, and that was really all we did this month. So we completed most of our other financial goals. So car fund, we completed back in April, I think. My husband's Roth IRA, we completed in July, and my Roth IRA, we completed in September. So really our only remaining goal is this basement remodel and college savings, which I'm not sure if we're going to put any more towards that for this year or not. Just kind of depends on how the rest of the year goes. So we are definitely heavily focused on the basement remodel because obviously we are starting the process already. So we're kind of already in too deep to stop. So that is the main focus for us for the rest of 2023 and most likely for the beginning, quarter or more of 2024. So stay tuned for my 2024 goals video. I will have a lot of those kind of videos coming up in December. If you guys have been on my channel for a while, every single December, I do what's called Debt Free December, where I publish 3 videos a week instead of 2. And it's just really fun. I publish a lot of extra videos and just things that I don't normally talk about. So it's kind of a fun month. So stay tuned for that. And I will talk more about our exact goals for 2024. So for the month, we did the $1,800, and as you can see over here, for the basement remodel total, we are at $2,800 on a goal of $10,000, which means we have about $7,000 remaining, and we are 28% of that way to the goal. So if you guys have been watching my Debt Free Friday videos so far in November, we are obviously a little bit over this now because we've been putting money in towards this for November, but this is as of October 31st. So that is where we are at currently for our financial goals. Like I said, not too exciting because we're just, trying to focus on these last couple of goals to finish up 2023. So let's go ahead and go down to our net worth. So first thing I'm sure you guys will notice is that I did actually change our home value. So I have been thinking about this a lot over the last few months on how I wanted to handle our home value. So I used to use the low end of the Zillow estimate, which I do think I will eventually get back to doing that. However, we're actually pretty far off of that right now. We're pretty far low. I think the low end of the Zillow estimate is $530 for our house. And so I said originally that I wasn't going to touch this until January, but then the more that I thought about it, I figured I would just start to increase this very slowly over the next few months to get up to that number so that we don't have a huge jump in our net worth, because that's not really accurate. It has been slowly gaining value this entire year and we just haven't really been catching up with it. So I will be probably bumping this up $5,000 a month for the next few months just to get it to a point of where it's close enough to that low end estimate. And then I will probably maybe quarterly update it after that to whatever the low end of the Zillow estimate is. Now, I know a lot of people say that Zillow is not accurate. I have actually found it to be pretty darn accurate for myself. When we sold our last house, for almost exactly what the Zillow Zestimate was, which the Zestimate and like the range are different. So if you guys are familiar with Zillow, I'll actually post a picture of our Zillow while I'm talking about this so you guys can see. I haven't pulled it in a little bit, so it might be slightly off of what I'm talking about, but you'll kind of get the gist. Historically, when we owned our old house, we did the low end of the Zillow estimate. So just trying to kind of get back to that. I've always found it to be pretty accurate. I think that it's accurate for our current house now as well, because we have been, our neighborhood's been kind of building up. We live in a new neighborhood, and over the last year, they have like tripled the amount of houses that are in our neighborhood. So I finally feel like it's kind of getting more accurate now. So I do just want to be mindful of that. And so we don't just have like a huge increase, like going from 500,000 to like 540 in 1 month, because that wouldn't be really reflective of the actual, what's actually happening. So long explanation for something that probably really doesn't matter, but you guys understand like why I'm kind of explaining that, because it is kind of challenging to have equity factored into your net worth, because it's kind of hard to say like what your house is worth when you're not selling it. And we don't plan to sell it anytime soon. So this is not going to be a reality for us. The equity, like getting the equity out of our house for like many, many years, hopefully. So anyways, that's kind of what we're doing for that. Next, we are moving on to our HSA. So our HSA is our health savings account. We do use this for medical expenses. We actually didn't have any medical expenses this month, but it did drop down by about $200 because we do have like half of this invested. And so when the market drops, unfortunately, this drops as well. But we do intentionally invest like half of it just because we want to have that money working for us in the long term. I'm hoping that we'll never have to touch the portion that's invested, and that we can continue to kind of grow this account in the future. But like I said, we do use this for medical expenses too. So, you know, it's kind of a multi-use account for us. So that's at $7,900, and our retirement and savings actually had a pretty significant drop this month. The end of October, the market was just not doing well, unfortunately. So we dropped from 253 to 240. So again, the ups and downs in the market, this has already rebounded a decent amount into November. I'm filming this on November 10th, and the market has already rebounded quite a bit from when I pulled these numbers at the end of October. So that just goes to show you, like, depending on the week, you know, a week can make a huge difference in investing. So again, not too worried about it, but it does kind of, you know, it's kind of a bummer to see that drop so much, unfortunately, but we will just keep moving on. Car value, this is another thing that I said I'm not going to touch, and I'm not going to touch this until January. I think this is probably a little bit low. We have a 2018 Honda CR-V and a 2007 Honda Accord. And so I just guessed $20,000 for both. I think that's probably a little low, but I don't really care. Again, we're not looking towards selling those anytime soon, so it's just kind of an estimate here. So that brings our total asset value for the month of October to $778,300. Moving down to our only liability, which is our mortgage. So our mortgage is currently at $360,700. So we do just pay our regular mortgage payment every single month, and then we do pay a little bit extra every single month. So we end up paying about $100 extra towards principal every single month. That's just what works out for us. We like to pay a little bit extra. I totally understand that that's not everybody's cup of tea, but I like to have our money working for us in a lot of different ways. So I try to kind of diversify what we're putting our money towards. And one of those things is to eventually pay our mortgage off early. That is a goal of ours still. And so, yeah, that's definitely in our plans in the future. And so we're just trying to work towards that as much as we can every single month. So going ahead and moving down to our net worth by month, as you can see here for October, we were at $417,600, which was a loss of $2,600. So again, not a huge loss. I'm not too sad about that. It's just part of what happens in the market. Now, obviously, a lot of this was because we did raise our home value by $10,000. So keep that in mind. If we would not have done that, we would have been down closer to $12,000 or $13,000. So it was definitely nice to have that this month to kind of give us a little buffer of like not dropping our net worth down too much. But again, we will be taking that month by month at this point and seeing kind of where we end up feeling comfortable with our home value. I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments. If you track your net worth, how do you track your home value, or do you track your home value? Because I know some people do not factor in home equity or cars into their net worth. This is just how we do it. It's not necessarily the right way. There's really not a right and wrong way to calculate it. It's just whatever you feel is right. And honestly, just being consistent with whatever you use is going to give you, a great value for your net worth. So would be curious to what you guys use for your net worth, and maybe if you include things that I don't, I would love to hear about that too. We are doing just fine for the year. We are still up $53,000 for the year, which is amazing. I'm super, super proud of that number. Honestly, as long as we are keeping increasing every single year, I think we're in really, really good shape, and I'm very happy with where we're at with our net worth. I think having a net worth of $400,000 is great. I'm super pleased with that. And when I started tracking our net worth back in 2021, I think it was 2021, we were under $100,000 net worth. So we have grown our net worth significantly over the last few years, and I am super, super happy with that. So net worth milestone tracking, obviously we don't have a net worth milestone this month because we actually went down. So we're even farther away from this $500,000 milestone, but again, totally okay. I'm really, really hoping that we'll hit that 500,000 next year. But again, if we don't, it's all good. As long as you're doing the things that you need to be doing with your money and trying to make progress the way that you can, which would be by saving, investing, paying off debt, etc., that is doing an amazing job, even if the market is not reflecting that. So that is all I have for you guys for this month. Let me know in the comments down below if you track your net worth. Also, I do have this spreadsheet available for free if you guys are interested. I always have it linked in the pinned comment. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested. It's completely free, and I would love for you to track your net worth alongside me. And I will talk to you guys next month. Bye, guys.